So the story is 2 years in the future. Steven has a neck.
A little bit of his neck.
Steven's neck.
Neck acquired. The neck, very exciting.
Steven has a neck.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, Leah from Toon here, and today I'm going to be talking about the future of Steven Universe. I do have a lot of theories about the movie that's coming out in September of this year, but today's video is only loosely related to the subject. And I say loosely because we'll only be referencing the timeline of the canon. Now, the video title may be a bit misleading at face value, but I mean what I said in it. I really do think that the Steven Universe movie will be the end of the series. As far as the canonical timeline goes, that is. Steven Universe itself won't be ending after the movie comes out, and that's all but been confirmed at this point. However, timeline-wise, I think that this movie will be happening after whatever new content comes out. Let me explain this a little bit since it can get a bit complicated. It's been stated that Steven Universe, the movie, takes place 2 years after the events of Change Your Mind, which was the most recent episode of the show. From the trailer, we can see that the time skip is accurate through observing Steven's new neck, as well as the rebuilt temple and mystery building showcased in the trailer, as well as the SDCC 2019 poster. While a time skip is a very bold move for this series to take, it was also a very confusing decision for most of us. I had stated in my previous reaction videos that I was concerned that a time skip was happening, given that there was a lot of loose ends that weren't tied up at the end of Change Your Mind. But then I did some thinking, and I came to this conclusion. What if the Steven Universe movie takes place after the next season of the show? Of course, that means that they aren't releasing content in order, but theoretically, it could work. After all, Change Your Mind ended with pretty much all the main conflicts of the series mostly resolved. So you could jump right into the movie timeline if you wanted to, since you wouldn't be confused by them doing so. All you really need to know for the movie to make sense is everything up to Change Your Mind. If anything was released after that, I think it would help for context to the movie, but it wouldn't be necessary to understanding it. So this means if they wanted to, they could go backwards in time with Steven Universe Season 6 and onward. I think it would be a surprising approach, but it isn't impossible. Imagine if after the movie, when Season 6 starts, it picks up directly after Change Your Mind. If that were the case, it would also fill us in on all that happened after the corrupted gems were healed, right up to where this new mystery gem appears. And to be honest, as crazy as releasing things this way sounds, I'm kinda hoping for it. We were just about to get a lot of character development for characters like Lapis, Bismuth, Peridot, and Jasper. I would be incredibly disappointed if the show skipped over all of that entirely and just inferred what happened to lead up to the events of the movie. For instance, what led to Bismuth, Lapis, and Peridot being such good friends as it's shown in the trailer? How could Lapis and Peridot's relationship change since Lapis left her behind on Earth? And more importantly, what happened to Jasper and the other corrupted gems? It just seems like all this stuff is too important to simply gloss over, since it would form the future of the crystal gems. Sure, the whole corrupted gem thing could just be shown to us by showing Gem Society on Earth and how they're doing, but Jasper's recovery and integration is something much too important to simply be glossed over. And I highly doubt that this movie will be nearly 2 hours of a time lapse showing us what happened to lead to this point. For me, it seems the most likely that it's yet to be covered. It's entirely possible that they thought Change Your Mind and the movie were going to be the end of the series. So, in order to deal with that, they made the story in such a way that answered all of the main questions that they felt needed to be answered, sacrificing some of the side character development as a result. After all, this exact same thing did happen back in Season 1. If you guys remember, originally they thought that Ocean Gem was going to be the end of the series, and they were surprised when Cartoon Network wanted to keep it going.
When we were writing that first season, we thought that Ocean Gem was going to be the last episode ever made. We only had 26 episodes, so we were just going to cram everything we can into these episodes. The reveal that the corrupted gems used to be gems just like everybody else, and that gems were actually aliens, was going to be the end of the show.
It was written in such a way that it could leave you asking questions, but most of the big conflicts of the series at that point were resolved, like what the corrupted gems were, that the gems were aliens, etc. Anyways, the point of that being, I do think it's entirely possible that we're going to be getting those stories, just not in the movie or even acknowledged in the movie. We'll see what happened to Jasper, but we're going to need to go back in time to understand what happened to her. Same with Lapis, Peridot, and Bismuth with their friendship. I think that they've built up all these characters too much to simply leave them hanging entirely. It does seem sort of odd to me that Cartoon Network would just release the movie that takes place after an unreleased season, but I do think it's possible. Like I said, all we need to know for this movie to make sense is that the Diamonds were defeated and are no longer a threat. So what does this mean for the rest of the series as a whole? Well, until we get confirmation on what comes after the movie, I'm just going to assume that this movie is possibly the end of the canon timeline. Anything that is made or released after this movie may be happening pre-movie rather than post-movie. Steven might get his happily ever after by the end of it, and that's it. I think it's entirely possible for this to be the furthest into the future that we see if the main antagonist is defeated by the end of the movie. It is shown in the trailer that Steven has pretty much already restructured Homeworld's dictatorship, so I'm not sure what else there would be if he just defeats the main antagonist in the movie. Any non-movie stuff that comes out will just be the events that led up to the movie, dealing with the corrupted gems, gem integration into human society, restructuring Homeworld's hierarchy, Jasper's redemption, Lapis and Peridot repairing their relationship. You know, all the great character development that the show is known for. And funny enough, while I was almost done writing this script, Rebecca Sugar herself hinted in an interview that some of the things after the movie may be taking place in the past. Credit to Love Takes Work on Tumblr for transcribing this interview, which I will be linking in full below. Finally, Susanna asks, what comes next after Steven Universe? One day, when the show does end, what does Rebecca want to do? Rebecca says that her head is really on SU right now, and that there is so much more to do. Yes, there is a lot to tell that comes after the movie, and she wants us to know that there are also stories that belong in that 2-year gap between the end of Change Your Mind and the beginning of the movie. But she feels this is a good place to stop talking. She's so excited about everything that we have yet to see. Although this does have an interesting question for us to think about. If Steven was gone for 2 years dealing with gem stuff as it's so hinted, does this mean that we'll finally be leaving Steven's perspective in terms of storytelling? After all, he can't be in 2 places at once. If he's helping with Homeworld problems, then he wouldn't be able to help with Earth problems at the same time. If so, this means that we'll finally be splitting the perspective of the show to switch between characters instead of only ever getting the story through Steven's perspective. Just something to consider, as well as a video topic for another day. But I'm going to leave it at that for this video. What do you think? Do you think Steven Universe Season 6 and onward will take place after or before the movie? Let me know in the comments down below or over on my Twitter. Today's video is powered by Patreon. My top tier patrons are Zachary Ansley and Charlize Jefferson. It's because of people like them that I can continue to make videos, and I cannot thank them enough for their support. And if you like this video, please make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon to see more from me. And I will see you all in the next video. Have an amazing day, everyone.